worth more than gold. One light becomes another flame. No one rises all the same. Hand in hand, the circle grows stronger everywhere it flows. We build together, we rise as one. Every journey has begun. Discovery lights the way. Knowledge turns the night to day. Side by side we stand and see what tomorrow still can be. One network, endless possibility. Beyond the shelves where wisdom sleeps, a promise every dreamer keeps. Open every hidden door. Find the life you're searching for. Light the lamps and turn the page. Every soul becomes a sage. Share the knowledge, break the chains. Hope is built where courage remains. One light becomes another flame. No one rises all the same. Hand in hand, the circle grows stronger everywhere it flows. We build together, we rise as one. Every journey has begun. Discovery lights the way. Knowledge turns the night to day. Side by side we stand and see what tomorrow still can be. One network, endless possibility. One light becomes 1,000 more. Knowledge shared becomes our power. Together we discover tomorrow. We don't wait for someone else. We become the change ourselves. Every lesson freely shared multiplies because we care. Learn, build, grow. Let your purpose show. Every voice adds to the fire. Every dream climbs higher. Not a throne, not a crown, but countless hands that won't back down. Every mind, every soul, every piece becomes the whole. One light becomes another flame. No one rises all the same. Hand in hand, the circle grows stronger everywhere it flows. We build together, we rise as one. Every journey has begun. Discovery lights the way. Knowledge turns the night to day. Side by side we stand and see what tomorrow still can be. One network, endless possibility. One light becomes 1,000 more. Knowledge shared becomes our power. Together we discover tomorrow. The library is never closed. The journey never ends. Knowledge shared becomes a legacy, and strangers become friends. Light the candle, close the door. Hear the whispers through the floor. Every tale you've always known has a darker seed that's grown. Fairy wings and children's rhymes, hidden truths between the lines. Every monster, every name started somewhere just the same. Every warning leaves a scar. Every legend starts somewhere. Welcome to the dark origins, past the place where reason ends. Not to glorify the night, but to drag the truth to light. Every legend leaves a mark. Listen close, the silence speaks. Hidden in corners is where the truth creeps. Forest paths and crooked trees, promises upon the breeze. Old believers drew the line between the sacred and divine. Names forgotten, graves erased. History still leaves a trace. Every nightmare, every cry has a reason buried by time. Truth survives when myths decay, waiting for another day. Welcome to the dark origins, past the place where reason ends. Not to glorify the night, but to drag the truth to light. Every legend leaves a mark. Listen close, the silence speaks. Hidden in corners is where the truth creeps. No one knows where all roads lead. Fear was planted like a seed. Faith and folklore, blood and stone. Nothing ever stands alone. Ask the question, pull the thread. Wait, the stories that long Welcome to the dark origins, past the place where reason ends. Not to glorify the night, but to drag the truth to light. Every legend leaves a mark. Listen close, the silence speaks. Hidden in corners is where the truth creeps. So before you tell the tale, ask where it came from.
All right, well, welcome in. I'm moving a little slow. Give me just a second. And there we are. All right. So welcome in, welcome in. Sorry about that slow shift from the end of the song to my face. I'm sure some of you disappointed, some of you don't give a crap. Anyways, moving on. So welcome in, welcome in. I'm not sure who's in here. I don't see anyone active in the chat yet. I see a couple of viewers in here. I know tonight that I'm battling with a couple of bigger and better channels. I understand that, but here we are. We're going to give it a go. I figured this is the kind of topic that you want to do during the late night. So before we get, or during the late night, yeah. So before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, let's just go ahead and get rid of that banner down there because, well, the stream has started, the music is over. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you did enjoy the new Dark Origins theme track there, or whatever you call it, theme song. All right. For anyone who has not been here before, or you've not been here during the beginning of a video, up there in the right-hand corner, yep, right up there is the GoFundMe QR code. If you scan that, it's going to give you the background story of what I'm doing here and, what's going on, why this channel is running. And this channel is the DSD Network. I am Darkside Deaconess, otherwise known as DSD. So this is my channel, and yes, that fundraiser up there is mine. And if you scan that QR code up there, it's not going to ask you for money. As soon as you jump in there, it is going to give you my story. So if you'd like to know that, go ahead and do that. And if you are feeling charitable, you can go ahead and use that method as a way to make a donation. I also have links that are pinned in the chat, and those are going to be Cash App links and PayPal links. I won't share your info. You won't share mine. That's how it goes, and that's how we expect it to be. All right. So let's go ahead and, numbers jumped up a little bit there. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I was just about to get to, one more thing. Talked about the links. Oh, yes, right there. All right, there's a ticker down there at the bottom with the goal that is through August 11th. That goal is $1,370. It is a little bit higher than it usually is, almost twice as much as it usually is for a 2-week goal. But I do have a hospital stay that is coming up the middle of this month. That could be 3 to 7 days long. Just depends on how long it takes them to get the diagnostic information that they need to move forward more effectively with my epilepsy. Again, the GoFundMe QR code will tell you more about that part. And as of yesterday, the Grifty Bag is at $160. So thank you to everybody who has done that. Thank you to also everybody who has viewed and shared my channel out. I believe we are at 157, almost said prescribers. Don't prescribe to me, subscribe. Prescribe, don't. Sorry about that, slip of the tongue. All right, yes, we are at about 157 subscribers. So to all of you, thank you so much for being here and supporting my channel and all of my weird endeavors. Because, oh yes, I'm a weirdo, which make you guys weirdos because you're here with me and I'm a weirdo. So it just logically follows. Just get with the program. It's all right. You don't have to hide anymore. All right, speaking of hiding, I think that brings us to a great place to introduce the topic. So if you haven't been here before, welcome. If this is a spot you've been before, well, then welcome back to Dark Origins. Tonight, our topic is the Boogeyman, the monster that never had just one face. Every culture has its monsters, as some breathe fire, some stalk the forest, and some haunt abandoned castles. Tonight we're talking about a creature unlike any other, and a monster who has no agreed upon appearances. There's no official origin story. There's no sacred text that goes along with the Boogeyman, no single mythology. No one can even agree on whether it's a man, a beast, a ghost, or something else entirely, yet somehow children from Scotland to Spain, from Russia to Japan, from Mexico to America, right here where I am, we've all grown up afraid of something hidden in the darkness, whether it was in the closet, under the bed, in one of your drawers, I don't know, just outside the bedroom door, you know. Everybody got told maybe something similar. Maybe a lot of people were told exactly the same thing. And then most of us eventually just stopped believing in the Boogeyman. But the strangest thing, I think, is that humanity never stopped creating him. So there's new versions of the Boogeyman throughout history as it has evolved. And so tonight we are going to trace the origin of the history of the boogeyman, not just to discover where he came from or where it came from, but to ask a much deeper question, and that is, why has nearly every civilization invented some concept of this? Was he always meant to frighten children, or was he really created to provide some kind of comfort to adults? So dim your lights, or we'll just metaphorically dim the lights and step into the darkness. So most legendary creatures come with rules. Vampires drink blood, werewolves transform beneath the full moon, ghosts haunt specific places, dragons guard treasure. But ask 10 people to describe the boogeyman, and like I just said, you'll probably receive 10 different answers. Some imagine a towering shadow, others picture a skeletal old man. Some see glowing eyes beneath the bed. Others imagine long claws emerging from the closet. That's a good one. For some children, the boogeyman isn't something that they can see at all. He's simply just there, lurking in the corner, waiting, watching. Ooh. The remarkable thing is that none of these descriptions are wrong, because unlike every other monster in folklore, the boogeyman was never supposed to just have one face. He becomes whatever the imagination fears the most. And perhaps that's exactly why he has survived for centuries. Every generation recreates him in a different image. Every childly unknowingly redesigns him. Every culture gives him a different name, but they all recognize him immediately. Because the boogeyman isn't defined by what he looks like. He is defined by what he represents. And that's the unknown, and that's the unseen, the uncertainty. It creates fear, and it's just there, hiding just outside the reach of the light. And the less we know about him, the scarier he is. And I think that's something that we can all agree on. So there's a quote by author H.P. Lovecraft: "The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown." Things that we are uncertain of definitely creates some fear down inside of us, regardless of what it is, honestly. So although Lovecraft wasn't writing about the boogeyman specifically, his observation perfectly captures why this figure has endured for generations. So unlike monsters with clearly defined appearances, the boogeyman allows the imagination to do all the work. You just spins right out of control. And yeah, I think that some can agree, I would say, that what happens up here is way worse than anything that is actually going to occur. So we're going to take a look at some sources to look at the word boogeyman. So we're going to start with the definition of boogeyman. So let's go ahead and get this brought up. We'll do it like this. All right. So it immediately sends you here, right? So we click here and we get bogeyman or boogeyman, right? So a monstrous imaginary figure used in threatening children, a terrifying or dreaded person or thing. And then there's some word history, 1890, and the meaning defined at sense 1, which was a monstrous imaginary figure used to threaten children. And then we'll go over to, this is the the etymon line. So this is going to be the etymology, the origin, and the history of the word bogey. So World War II aviator slang for unidentified aircraft, presumably hostile. Makes sense to put that before man. If you leave out the aircraft, or maybe not, because that depends on if like what you see as a boogeyman is like floating and not like on the ground or something. So, I mean, there's a way to play around with that. Probably ultimately from bag or bog. 16th, 17th century, a dialectical variant of Middle English bug, a frightening specter. So if so, bogey shares ancestry with and might have arisen from dialect words for ghost, specter, the devil, such as boogeyman, a haunting specter, object of fear. Bogart, specters, is that what it is? Bogart or Bogart? I have a totally different definition for Bogart in my head. Bogart, specter that haunts a glooming spot, and compare bogey. The earliest modern form appears to be the Scottish bogle, or ghost, attested from 1500s, or popularized in 1800s in English literature by Scott Burns. Okay, so that makes sense. We're not going to go into the golf term for bogey. This one definitely makes sense, right? Okay, so over here, we have the boogeyman. And so this is going to be the first Britannica source that I listed in the description of the chat. Let me go over here and go ahead and do a chat check to see if anybody is participating in the chat. If not, all good. Oh, look at that. We got some. All right. Welcome in, Deblo. Thank you so much for coming in. Hello, Panchuchin. Welcome in. He says, yeah, I'm a scaredy cat. I hit the like despite my pathological fear. What kind of time is this anyway? It's 20 past 5 a.m. here, for the love of God. It's 10:23 p.m. here, Panchuchin. I'm so sorry that I caught you in your early morning hours. Like I felt like this is a topic that is meant for late night hours, and even on the West Coast, it's like earlier. So, but getting later. So I don't know. We're just having fun over here. Thanks, you guys, for coming in. Appreciate the viewership. All of the support matters. All right. So let us go back to the Britannica. Or did somebody else say something? Hold on. Oh, you work nights? Okay. All right, so let's go back to this. So yes, this is the last source for this section. So it says the boogeyman. This is a neat little illustration over here. Any of a variety of fictional and oftentimes folkloric monsters described in stories designed to frighten children. So remember, it's stating pretty boldly that this was designed to frighten children. And we're going to look a little bit more into that as we go on. So tales of the boogeyman and various analogs have been used for centuries all across the world to influence children to behave as their parents command and to exercise caution in dangerous situations or areas. The term is also sometimes used more generally to describe any fearsome or dreaded thing. We look at the creation of the boogeyman. The word boogeyman, used to describe a monster in English, comes from the Middle English bug or bog, which means a frightening specter. Boogeyman itself is known from the 15th century, though boogeyman stories are almost certainly much older. Because of the nature of the tales and often distinct or changing nature of the monster, it is impossible to trace the character to a single origin in any culture, much less globally. Yeah, that would be pretty difficult. It is generally thought that the boogeyman was invented to serve as a caution or deterrent to children by warning children that a boogeyman will capture them if they stray into the dark woods. For instance, parents might better ensure that children are cautious about where they go and when. In this way, the boogeyman may serve as a shorthand for the various dangers to lone children in the woods instead of explaining that they may fall into a ravine, be attacked by an animal. So, yeah, like instead of like just being realistic with us or being me, being realistic with my children, I don't know if I ever told that any of my kids that like the boogeyman was in the woods. I think I don't know. I can't. I whatever. But yeah, so like we're influenced as children to be afraid of something that is whatever we have been taught to believe it is, when there are actual things that we should be afraid of in the woods, such as being attacked by an animal, falling off of a cliff and into a ravine, touching something poisonous. So the boogeyman also represents a supernatural presence that do things a parent cannot do and go places a parent cannot go. Children may know what punishments their parents are capable of assigning, but a boogeyman's capabilities and motivations are unknowable, thus all the more terrifying. Yeah, so again, we're going to get into that later in and on down the list of sources. Sometimes children develop a concept of the boogeyman on their own. When children begin to try to make sense of the world around them, they often experience fear, uncertainty, and anxiety. The sense of dread, especially when alone or in the dark, can lead children to imagine unseen terrors lurking in the shadows, under the bed, or in the closet. However, because the boogeyman is a distinct entity, there is often a possibility of overcoming or defeating the monster. Most of us grow up and understand that, like, unless an intruder has entered our home, there's probably nothing scary hiding under the bed that's going to just jump out and get us, unless we have a trickster for a spouse or a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Like the chance of something coming out of there and actually harming you is pretty slim, unless it's an actual intruder, somebody that shouldn't be in there, or somebody just playing a joke on you, and it's somebody that's supposed to be there. I think you get okay, I'll stop prattling. Shut up, lady. Get back to this. Okay. So the sense of dread, especially when alone or in the dark, can lead children to imagine unseen terrors lurking in the shadows, under the bed, or in the closet. Okay, I already said all of that. Parents of small, did I already say that one? Oh, yes. Parents of small children may employ monster spray or put on a nightlight to keep the boogeyman away. Like, just tell them it's not real. It's not real. I guess, but again, how do you sue the child by just saying it's not real? It's got to, I don't know. I mean, everybody has their own, right? Everybody has their own ways, because the boogeyman is different for everybody. So cultural variations of the boogeyman. This is where it gets really, really cool. So in some cultures, the boogeyman is amorphous, shapeless, and perhaps described as just a dark figure or something seen out of the corner of the eye. It may be said to change its shape. I can't talk. I'm probably going to need to get something to drink. It may even be said to change its shape into anything it chooses, or any number of terrible things. It may have claws or nails to scratch against doors or window panes. Okay, stop. Why out the windows? Glowing eyes that can be seen in the dark, or horns like an animal. In other cultures, the boogeyman may have a more specific appearance or recognizable role, or belong to another species. It may be a witch, a goblin, or a ghost, or it may have animal characteristics. La Llorona, listen, I wanted to watch that movie. I still haven't watched it. Is a Mexican boogeyman who is the ghost of a woman who wears a white dress. The Vodnik, also called Vodianoi of the Czech Republic, is a water spirit who can assume many different forms to entice humans to the banks of rivers and lakes. Yara Ma Yahoo of Australia. Okay, shout out to my Aussies. I know I have Aussie subscribers. I'll have to ask you guys about that. The Yara Ma Yahoo of Australia looks like a frog with bright red fur. And the Clude of the Flemish countryside, northern Belgium, is a large dog-like demon with a beak, scales, fur, and sharp claws. Hell, what the hell? What the hell? Let me come over here. What the hell? What the hell? Hello, Chatter King. I heard a sweet voice call for the boogeyman. Here I am. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm glad you guys are here. Anybody and everybody, glad you guys are here. This story is really cool because it is quite different for everybody. And like I said, it could be the same for certain cultures. And like this article has said, and I think that I said, like, you can run away with it. Like a child could start out with a general image of what they're being taught and then take that and spin it. And kids have like imaginations. Their imaginations are just, and even adults make things out to be scarier than they really are sometimes. So imagine being a kid and having like no real experience in life, and all you got is like what you're imagining things really are. It's scary. All right, stop prattling, lady. So shut up, lady. Get back to the content. Let's go. All right. So most boogeyman stories involve the punishment, capture, or assault of a disobedient child. Hombre del Saco, Sackman of Spain, spirits children away in a sack. Damn. Either to sell them or to eat them. Oh my God, you guys, why are you scaring your kids with the imaginary thing that's going to come put them in a bag and take them away? That's never going to happen. That's Oh, okay. Let's move on. The Namahage of Japan. We're going to look at that. Okay. I might have to take a quick break to get something to drink and put my cat away if she gets too loud. If I do, I'll play a song. So I'll let you know. Okay, let's just keep going for now. The Namahage, I think that's how you say it, of Japan looks for, already said that one? No, who looks for disobedient children on New Year's Eve. They take away children who don't mind their parents or who are lazy or cry too much. This would, I mean, could you imagine if you were Japanese and this is what you were taught as a kid? I mean, it kind of tracks. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so a Brazilian lullaby warns children that if they do not go to sleep, they will be taken by a kuka, a crocodile woman. Okay, listen, I'm already visualizing these things, okay? I can't imagine what a child could do with that. Anyways, let's keep going. Various stories and traditions involve tales of how boogeyman can be subverted, outsmarted, or conquered. The Kappa of Japan hold power in water-filled depressions in their heads. What? The Kappa of Japan hold power in water-filled depressions in their heads. Bowing to one will cause it to bow in return and spill its power-giving water. Okay. Leaving shoes by the door will deter the Jumbi of the Caribbean region, who will spend the night trying to get the shoes onto its backward feet. So it's going to steal your shoes. It wants your shoes more than it wants to scare you. Okay, so here we go. Portrayal of the boogeyman in Western pop culture. The pervasive fear of unknown specters has led to a variety of depictions of boogeymen in the popular media, arguably any number of supernatural horror movie icons. Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Friday the 13th, Michael Myers, the slasher from Halloween series. Yeah, so, I mean, this is a lot. We do have a little bit to cover. So, there's Oogie Boogie, the villain in the animated. Oh, rest in peace, Oogie Boogie. The villain in the animated film The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's a more literal boogeyman. Yeah. Appears both as a corporeal and a spectral figure and is composed of bugs and worms. A more modern boogeyman is Slender Man. So a tall, featureless humanoid who wears a suit, tales of whom originated on the internet in the early 2000s. Seeing more and more versions of the boogeyman keep being created as we advance through the generations. Okay, so there's that. Let's do another chat check over here. And then I might take a little bit of break so I can grab something to drink. And I'm going to play a new song I wrote. Yes. All right, let's see. Yo, Buddha, what's good, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. Because these things used to happen in Europe. You're telling me, okay, which things? I need you to be more specific. Because I know we're gonna, whatever, just tell me what you want. Okay. Panchichin, we have 3 boogeymen equivalent here. They are mostly based on wolves. We have a lot of wolves here. Okay. Neo-pagans have a much more interesting take on this. Children disappearing. I mean, I get it. But like, that's stranger danger. You don't need to say a boogeyman. Like, you just need to say, like, stay away from people you don't know. I get it. Intruders come in tonight. Tell them that. Don't tell them that a crocodile woman is going to come and get them in the night. That's not the truth. It might be a woman. It's not going to be a crocodile woman, okay? Let's just be realistic with our kids. Can we treat them like human beings and not like make them afraid of things that don't exist? Come on. Anyways. Shut up, lady. All right, so let's go back here. All right. All right, so we've talked about how it exists in many different cultures. Nearly every single culture, as we'll go on to see the more sources that we take a look at. Then we looked at the name boogeyman itself. We saw that the English word bogey appears as far back as the 16th century. It described a frightening apparition, a ghost, a goblin, a spirit used to frighten people. Linguists aren't entirely certain on where the word originated. Boogeyman, not bogey, right? But boogeyman. Obviously, at some point, man was attached to it. But some believe that it evolved from older Middle English words associated with frightening and supernatural beings. Others trace the word through Germanic languages describing ghosts and malevolent spirits. What the historians do know is that by the I'm going to have to stop and get something to drink. Is that by the late 18th and early 19th centuries, the expression boogeyman had become increasingly common throughout Britain. So, like Panchuchin said, in Europe, it's because it was something that happened. As British culture spread across the Atlantic, so did the name, and America quickly adopted the name boogeyman. Something fascinating happened across the Atlantic. Unlike many European monsters, there was never one official story, no sacred folklore, no single appearance, no universally accepted mythology. Instead, parents simply just borrowed the name. So you had people that were coming over that were still using it as it was supposed to be used, but it eventually grew into whatever the parent wanted to scare the child with. So that's why I said, like, a lot of people have a very different idea of the boogeyman in their head. And they would do this and again, attach it to whatever frightened the children into becoming obedient. Like if it's with this something standing outside the bedroom door, which means when it's time for bed, it's time for bed, and you don't come out of your room when it's time for bed. So it wasn't one creature. He was an idea, a warning, a shape that changed depending on who was telling the story. There are a lot of stories out there where the boogeyman would punish children who lied. And others, he carried away children who wandered outside in the dark. When honestly, that's not a boogeyman. Like that could actually happen, but it's not going to be some like awful scary figure. It's going to be an actual person. So I think it's a little bit more realistic to tell the child that that's what's going to happen rather than some animal with horns is going to grab it at night if it wanders out of the house. Like, be realistic with the children, because there are more realistic fears out there that exist. I mean, in modern times, right? I mean, we could say back then, I get it. There were things going on and children disappeared, and we still don't know to this day for those stories what actually took place, because a lot of the primary and secondary evidence is gone, destroyed, or just never existed in a written form or a form that could be recorded, right? So, you know, the rules changed, the monsters changed, the purpose remained remarkably consistent, and the boogeyman existed wherever adults needed fear to accomplish what reason could not. And so before we go into the next set of sources, I am going to take a break. I do need to get something to drink. I do have a song for you guys that's brand new. So Pantuchin says, I don't actually don't know. Do you have this in Appalachia? I mean, in the United States, there are multiple, I mean, you're talking about like child abduction, which obviously still occurs and is a real, you know, danger. But you don't also want to, like, again, we're going to get into like some of the psychology behind this, but you don't want to drive it into your kids' heads so bad that like you make them afraid of everything. Every dark corner they encounter, they think that the boogeyman is hiding there, you know, like you don't know what your kid is doing with what you're telling them and like running away with in their head. What's up, ducks? And so that's why I say, like, be more realistic, because yes, there are real concerns when it comes to people taking children that do not belong to them. That is a real concern. I think that there are better ways to communicate that to our children than telling it that, again, the crocodile woman thing, that one got me. You're a listening. I appreciate that you're a listening. All right. So like I said, I need to take a break. I need to get something to drink, or I'm going to keep mispronouncing words. Hello, welcome in Common Circles. This is one of our dedicated moderators. I do believe she's checking in from a trip. So good to see you. Good to see you. I really appreciate you taking the time to come over and see us. So again, before I get distracted by anything else, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play this song for you guys, and I'll be right back. Yeah. Let's, where's it at? Oh, there it is.
Here we go again. Same old villain in the story, same old form of it. Every thumbnail screams a name, every title throws a dart. Building whole career The outrage pays the bills. Every tiny slice becomes a mountain made of cliffs. Truth gets lost somewhere between the go and the spin. The algorithm loves revenge, so let the loop begin. You say you're moving on, but every road leads back. You call it holding people accountable. The receipts say it's an endless lap. Never really free, 24/7. Turning one bad day into digital heaven. Every stream, every post, every final reply. Funny how the finale never says goodbye. Claim they don't matter, that's the headline you sell. And spend another 3 hours ringing the same old bell. If they're really in your past, what's your future built on them? You keep feeding yesterday until it blooms again. Until it blooms again. New subscribers, same old script, rewritten every night. Adding extra chapters just to keep the numbers right. Every don't call back, every tangent finds the name. Calling it awareness. Wow, recycling the flame. The audience was wondering, didn't we did this before? But conflict keeps the lights on, so you open more doors. Every critic is a villain, not every bruise is a scar. Sometimes the loudest prison doesn't even end bars. Moving on, but every road leads back. You call it holding people accountable. The receipts say it's an endless lap. Living really free, 24/7. Turning one bad day into digital heaven. Every stream, every post, every final reply. Funny how the finale never says goodbye. You claim they don't matter, that's the headline you sell. And spend another 3 hours ringing the same old bell. If they're really in your past, what's your future built on them? You keep feeding yesterday until it blooms again.
If you guys like my new song, we'll get right back to the content soon.
Beautiful instead of song of love. The lessons left instead. Imagine waking up, walking in your sky is flying out. The sun still rises without another fight. The internet forgets, but bitterness remembers. One builds tomorrow, one just counts the embers. You say you're moving on, but every road leads back. You call it holding people accountable. The receipts say it's an endless life. Living rent free, 24/7, 24/7. One bad day into digital heaven. Every stream, every post, every final reply. Funny how the finale never says goodbye. You claim they don't matter, 'cause the headline you sell. It's been another 3 hours ringing the same old bell. Is it really in your past? What's your future built on them? You keep feeding yesterday until it blooms again. Close the tab, kill the script. Let tomorrow have its turn. The greatest flex online is having nothing left to burn. Leave the ashes, what's if you found? Let somebody else pretend. The strongest ending
Oh, I'm back. I can take that down now.
is finally moving on. It's finally moving on.
Just a little ditty. Just a little ditty. And I don't mean that kind of ditty. No, I don't even. No. Donna says, I was just going to bed. Why are you live? Well, Donna, because this is Dark Origins, and these are the kind of topics that you do late at night. So, tonight it's the Boogeyman. It's perfect. Perfect. Did you see this? Listen. Listen, if you didn't catch the thumbnail, okay, let me just show it to you. It's creative genius, okay? Look at that. You see that back there in the window, that boogeyman? Listen, that's my idea of a boogeyman. I don't know if it has suction cup fingers, but anything that is at my window like this, that's a boogeyman to me. And if it's a real person, then yeah, that's a boogeyman. All right, ladies, shut up. Let's get back to the damn content. I have no clue what's going on right now. I don't have any clue what's going on right now. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Oh, let me get rid of this damn banner because I'm already back. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're going to, before we move on, we're going to take a look at a few of these. Okay. Let's take a little walk through this. Let me get back to this. This one. Okay. Your guys' comments are so distracting sometimes. Okay, so Krampus, right? So multiple faces. One being Krampus. So what does Krampus do to children? That's what we're going to go to. I'm not going to read through everything. So what does Krampus do? The devilish companion of Saint Nicholas. It's the opposite of Santa. Krampus punishes naughty children. The half goat, half demon monster beats them with branches and sticks, and in some cases he is said to eat them or take them to hell in a basket. Hell in a handbasket. Well, this is going to hell in a handbasket with Krampus. Takes him to hell in a basket, usually strapped to his back. Oh, it's a back basket. It's not a hand basket. It's a back basket. Okay, so again, why are we scaring our children with things that, I mean, is it because parents didn't know what to tell their children when children were abducted? And there was no idea. Nobody knew what actually happened to these children that disappeared. Is that why these adults made up these stories? What is the reason, the real reason behind, because it can't just be to punish children, right? Because like Panchuchin said, yeah, he's the epitome of getting the bad children. But like Panchuchin said, these are things, I mean, even today, these are things that actually occur. Like children go missing and there's no trail of them. And this happened in Europe before Europe came over here. The Europeans came over here. I'm sure that the natives of America, whoever it was that were, here when the Europeans, came over the ocean and there were people already here. I'm sure that those people also had some brand of boogeyman. So let's take a look. Let's go. So we've got Krampus or however you say it. I never watched that movie either. So this is Baba Yaga. In Slavic folklore, an ogress who steals, cooks, and eats her victim, usually children. A guardian of the fountains of the water of life, she lives with 2 or 3 sisters, all known as Baba Yaga, in a forest hut that spins continually on birds' legs. This is quite creative. I'm not going to lie. This is extremely imaginative, okay? Somebody has gone to great lengths to give such a detailed description, okay? The forest hut continuously spinning on birds' legs. Okay. My hat's off to whoever came up with that one. Her fence is topped with human skulls. Baba Yaga can ride through the air. Like I said, from the bogey, World War II term, bogey, that would make sense. Unidentified, aircraft, usually, what was it? Hold on. Usually, presumably hostile. Yeah. So, I mean, that tracks, right? in an iron kettle or in a mortar that she drives with a pestle, creating tempests as she goes. She often accompanies death on his travels, devouring newly released souls. Wait, what? This, listen, this is not the truth. My only gripe here is that can we be more realistic when we're telling our children what to be afraid of going forward? Can we be more realistic? Baba Yaga's not coming to get you, okay? I need to take a drink of my cold coffee. It's not iced coffee because if I called it iced coffee, it'd be a lie. There's no ice in it, but it is cold. And I put new creamer. I got a new creamer. Something raspberry. I don't know. Whatever. It's good. It's delicious. Anyways, let's see. Baba Yaga is awesome. That's why I had a delusion I was with Baba Yaga once. Yo. Okay, let's keep going. Let's not. I could laugh for hours at these things. It's just, we know. Okay. Let's see. Anything else we can get? Just like we're like, just goes into like Slavic stuff. Okay, so let's see. I don't know if we're here yet, but Coco or Coca or Kuka. Kukui, Kuchi. Oh, I'm just kidding. That was on purpose. Anyways, the Coco or Coca, also known as Kukoi, Kuko, Kuka, Kuku, Cuckoo, Kukoi, or El Kukui, Kukui. I don't know. I hope somebody makes fun of that. Is a mythical ghost-like monster equivalent to the boogeyman found in Portugal and Spain. Those beliefs have also spread in many Hispanophone and Lusophone countries. It can also be considered an Iberian version of a bugbear. Okay, now we have to look at what a bugbear is. A bugbear is a legendary creature or type of hobgoblin comparable to the boogeyman and other creatures of folklore, all of which were historically used in some cultures to frighten disobedient children. So remember, there is a pretty clear pattern here that we are either doing this, we're doing this to punish or to prevent harm, right? So children don't always know what's best for themselves. A kid will run out in traffic, okay? At certain ages. If they're doing it at an older age, you need to take them to the hospital or you need to take them to the doctor or something's wrong with them. But anyways, so there's two things that we're using this for. One is to caution them against things that can actually happen, but using some imaginative creature to fearmonger them with, instead of them telling them the realities. Or it's used to punish them, right? So if you do this, which again could also be looked at as a way to fearmonger them into doing something or not doing something for their own good, right? But there are more realistic ways that we can talk to our children about the actual concerns that underlie all of these imaginary creatures, right? Chuoko. What's up, OG to Envy? Welcome in. You talking about drugs again? I need a rehab. Somebody give me a rehab. No, we're talking about the boogeyman. Look, don't do drugs and talk about the boogeyman. If you do, that's on you. You know, look, I'm dropping bars. Okay, hold on. I just Googled Appalachia. I found the booger man. Stop. Rawhead and Bloody Bones and Haints and the Haints in the Holler. Never heard any of those. Baba Yaga. Yep. Yes, thank you so much. Also, welcome in Crucible Crusader, another very, very dedicated mod. Watch out. If you mess around, he knows where the timeout button is. Okay. Won't be playing over here. We'll get to that too. So like and subscribe if you're intrigued by the dark side. That's me, aka DSD, and that's where you are at the DSD network. Yes, little grifty break here. Those links are pinned in the chat along with my Suno link. So I do have music over there. We do listen to it sometimes here. Might listen to it later if there's an after panel. Depends on how late we go. It's taken us about an hour to get to this point, so we'll see how it goes going forward. Might be an after panel. Depends on what that grifty bag looks like and how bad people want to keep me awake. I will tell you that I do have a hard out at 2 a.m. But if we finish before then and you want to pay to keep this going, then I will be more than willing to stay up until 2 a.m. with you fine folks. So those links are in chat, Cash App, and Stream Elements. And then also over there on the right side of your screen, there's a GoFundMe link. If you're new here, if you've just joined and you don't know what that GoFundMe link is, you can scan it. It's not going to ask you for money right away, but you're going to get a little background story if you can. Or just don't want to contribute, but you think that somebody else might want to or might be able to, feel free to share it. Please, again, as far as the GoFundMe is concerned, be respectful. When I receive donations, I don't share people's information, and so I expect that to be the same. I can't force anybody not to, but there are ramifications that you'll bring. I don't have to do anything about it. You'll bring those things upon yourself if you go out there and just spread people's personal information around the internet. It might come back to bite you in your butt. So Donna says she's not staying up till 2. That's fine. Let's see. My grandfather was named Chedo, which means protector of children. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Okay, let's get to this. Get back to this anyways. Okay. So, as it is a commonly used figure of speech representing an irrational or exaggerated fear. I mean, it says it right there. It's irrational. It's exaggerated. Like, it's not something that actually exists. Like, there are other concerns, like actual human beings that will take your child off the sidewalk, if you look left for too long. So that's what you should be warning your children against, not some imaginary creature. So this one originated in northern Portugal and Galicia. Where's that? Oh, it's an autonomous community of Spain and historic nationality under Spanish law located in northwest Iberian Peninsula. It includes the province of A Coruña, Lugo, Warrens, I think, and Pontevedra. I think that's how you say those things. Again, if you want to make fun of me for how I pronounce foreign words, go ahead. I don't care. Love to hear it. All right, let's see. The words cocoruto in Portuguese and cocorota in Spanish both means the crown of the head or the highest place. With the same etymology in Galicia, croca means, I know somebody that actually can speak Spanish and might be able to tell me a little bit about this if he ever wanders in here. Yeah, so we're going to get, okay, meaning skull, a couple of different variants. Yeah. The legend. Okay, so in Spain, Portugal, and Latin America, parents sometimes invoked the coco or cuca as a way of discouraging their children from misbehaving. They sing lullabies or tell rhymes warning children that if they don't obey their children, El Coco will come and get them and eat them. Ah! It is not the way the cocoa looks, but what it does that scares most. It is a child eater and a kidnapper. It may immediately devour the child, leaving no trace, or it may spirit the child away to a place of no return, but it only does this to disobedient children. It is on the lookout for children's behavior from the rooftops. It takes the shape of any dark shadow and stays watching. It represents the opposite of the guardian angel, and it is frequently compared to the devil. Others see the cocoa as a representation of the deceased of the local community. Oh, so like watchers, people who died that live in those communities that watch the kids and then take them away and eat them when they are bad. That's fucking weird. Okay, I'm sorry. Can we just tell our kids, Spaniards, can you please tell your children that actual human beings are strangers, are dangerous, and to stay as close to you as possible out in public, because other adult human beings that are real that could possibly take them away and never return them? Like, can we be real? Yeah. Why can't we tell our kids this now? Man, yes. Europeans had a lot of good lore. Welcome in, birds. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, man. Okay, let's keep going. This is a big one because obviously there are so many different variants of the boogeyman that is not going to be a very short stream. I'll try to get it done in the next hour. Maybe then when we hit that midnight mark, maybe I'll have a little bit of a grift in my bag and we can have an open panel and talk about the different types of boogeymen that our parents talked about, or the different ones that we learned from other kids, right? Because we're not all taught the same thing, obviously. All right, so let's go back. I don't want to get ahead of myself for things that we haven't talked about yet, but what's this one? Namahaj. Okay, I want that one. Okay, so I think there's a rhyme that goes along with this. Sleep child, sleep or else Coco will come and eat you. I'm sure that it sounds delightful this way. Duermete, niño, duermete ya, que viene el coco y te comerá. I hope I did that okay. So, yeah, sounds a lot more lullaby-ish when you speak it in the native language. So I hope I said, I don't see the thing above the E, but to say okay, so duermete niño, duermete ya, que viene el coco y te comerá. Okay, all right, let's move on to Nahamaj. I hope I said that okay. The Namahaj are demon-like beings portrayed by men wearing hefty oni or ogre masks and this one over here, the traditional straw capes during a New Year's ritual in local northern Japanese folklore of the Oga Peninsula area of Akita Prefecture. Namahaj are portrayed by the men who don oni masks and dress in long straw coats or mino. That's what that is. Right? See that down there in the Namahaj costumes, which are locally called kede or kende, or keda or kenda. I don't know how that E is supposed to be pronounced. They are equipped with deba or debe knives. I don't know how to pronounce that. The E or the A. Deba boko, bocho. I don't know. Anyways, those kind of knives. Okay. Usually fakes made of wood or paper mache, obviously during the parades. You would hope so. And a tioke, hand pail, made between people's homes. Oh, wait a minute. Made of wood. Hand pail made of wood. Marching in small groups of 2 or 3, the Namahaj go door to door between people's homes, admonishing children who may be guilty of laziness or bad behavior by yelling phrases, "Are there any crybabies around?" First of all, that is my favorite thing to do, is to ask if there's any crybabies around. Is there any crybabies around? But that's funny. Okay, it's not funny. Obviously, it's not funny to scare your kids with things that don't actually exist. But like, I would agree that, like, okay, maybe it's the Gen X in me. Maybe it's the Gen X in me that says it's funny to be like, are there any crybabies around? I also don't think it's okay to be lazy. So, I mean, I'm a little bit into this one. I don't like the whole, like, actual, emotion and whatnot, but like the overly crying about doing things that are just a reality, and every human being on earth needs to learn how to do their freaking dishes. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if you don't do the dishes right now, Namahaj is coming to get you, or Namahaji. That sounds more of the Japanese way to say it, Namahaji. Let's look at the pronunciation of the word. Let's go back. Or let me go back. You guys are clearly looking at it. I need to go look at the bigger version because I'm old and blind. Okay? Look, I don't know what this says. I don't know how to pronounce this. I need to know what kind of this E is right here. Is this Namahaj or Namahaji? I'm going to say Namahaji because it just sounds more Japanese. Okay? And y'all are going to go with it. All right? Namahaji. You have to use the accent. Namahaji. I don't know. Is that racist? Namahaji. Namahaji. I don't know. Am I not entertaining you people? Am I not entertaining you? My Crucible Crusader mod says, get the grifty bag, hit the link, send her doll hairs and coinage. Okay, let's go on. Where's World Radio? Hold on, I missed him. Oh, there he is. The Mexican El Cucuy tends to agree with you, Dark Side Deaconess. Well, the Hamaji doesn't like laziness or children that cry too much. I don't like anybody. I cry too much. I cry too much for different reasons. But anybody who just cries every time they have to do something that everybody else in human history has ever had to do to be able to take care of themselves, like, okay, crybaby. So I'm with the Namahaji. Where are all the any crybabies in here? But again, teach your children about not being lazy and not complaining about everything that every human being has ever had to do to take care of themselves. They don't want to wipe their own ass. Don't tell them Namahaji is coming to get them. Tell them that they're going to walk around with shit on themselves for the rest of their lives if they don't learn how to wipe their own ass. And stop crying about the fact that they got to wipe their own ass. You wipe your own ass every day. Talk to them like a real human being. Not like they're never going to figure out that Namahaji isn't coming for them. Come on, people. Thank you. There is no crying. Who's crying? Nobody's crying right here, right now. Anyways, let's get back. Shut up, lady. Let's get back to this shit. This is great, okay? Namahaji. Okay. Yes, the masks are naughty kids around. Nakuku waji what? Okay, hold on. Nakuku wa inijika. What? Nakuku wa iniga. Nakuku wa iniga. Clip it. This is your chance. I knew I should have paused a little harder. Baby G's gonna see this and she's never gonna let me live it down. Okay. Oh, anyways. I can't. Oh my God, breathe. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not going to try that again. Anyways, that are naughty kids around. Waruiku, wa ini ka. Waruiku, wa ini ka. In the pronunciation and accent of the local dialect, however they pronounce it. Okay. Traditionally, the Namahaji have worn painted wooden masks. Did I already get that one? All right, we have flattened metal canisters. That looks like a drum. I guess they're going to put kids in there. Or other recycled materials. Blah, blah, blah. One example from the hamlet of Yumoto, incorporated by the city of Oga, features Namahachi, who travel in pairs. One red face, the other blue face. Sounds like some Matrix shit to me. Red bill, blue bill. The straw attire, described as a minnow, I think that's how you say it, but these are considered particular items of clothing known locally as kid. I already said that. Okay, so they trying to see where to kind of zone in on this. Okay, so the legend of the Namahaji varies from region to region. I'm never going to say it any different. There are 4 theories of legends about the origin of the Namahaji on the Oga Peninsula and Akita Prefecture. The first theory is inspired by the appearance of the Yamabushi Shugendo practitioners who prayed in the houses of villages after their rigorous ascetic training at mountains such as Honzan and Shinzan. The second theory is inspired by the image of the messenger of the mountain Kami. In this theory, the Oga Peninsula looks like a mountain from the sea and is revered as the place where the mountain Kami resides to protect the lives of the villagers. Yeah, but okay, maybe I should go up because maybe I missed something I should have paid attention to. They really pay homage to the Namahaji in many different ways. Here, newlywed couples being required to host them in full formal attire and offer them sake and food. The Namahaji still receive hospitality in a similar manner during the New Year's, but in a reversal of roles, the Namahaji distribute mochi. I want to be at that one. I want to be at the other one and get some sake too, to visitors during the Namahaji Seido Matsuri, Namahaji Seido Festival, held in February. So this is neat. Okay, I'm paying too much attention to this one. Let's move on. Are we here yet? Oh, what the hell? Whatever. What is this? Combining traditional. How did I get here? Why am I here? Handheld fireworks. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this one. Ah, yes. So we don't want to go there yet. So let's do this. Let's bring me back here, focused in. All right. Namahuchi. You're a hoochie. Namahuchi. I think that's supposed to say I now know, or I know now where animes come from. Namahachi. um Common circles, 10 points if 10 points if you get DST. I can't even talk. DSD to say den 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 den. Not saying it. Not saying it. Not saying it. Not saying it. I gotta get this caffeine in me if I'm staying up. All right. So what we've seen so far is that the boogeyman definitely doesn't have one face. But history does suggest that he inherited pieces of many older monsters long before the word boogeyman entered the English language. Europe had already had creatures serving nearly identical purposes. England feared the bugbear. Scotland, we looked at the bugbear. Scotland spoke of bogles. We didn't really go into that too much. Northern England warned children about boggarts. I think it's boggarts or bogarts. It's double G'd, so I'm assuming it's boggarts. Germany had frightening forest spirits. And then the Slavic folklore introduced terrifying witches. The names differed, the details changed, but the role stayed almost identical, and children who disobeyed risked encountering something lurking beyond the safety of their home. One of the oldest examples is the bugbear. So the bugbear is the oldest historical example of something like the boogeyman. So today we use the word bugbear to describe a persistent annoyance. Originally, it was something much darker. The bugbear was described as a goblin-like creature used specifically to frighten children. Not because people necessarily believe existed, but because children often did. So, I mean, we keep coming back to that point where at some point we stop believing these things, and then new ones get created, and we pass these down to our children. For what reason? We're going to get into that. I think we've questioned it. We've circled it. Is it for the parents? Is it for the children? What is it really for? In cases where, again, in Europe, where adults could not explain the disappearance of children from their beds at night. I mean, obviously, security wasn't the best. It definitely wasn't the same as it is today. So, you don't know how easy it was to go in and take somebody's kid, or, what really happened. So were these parents not knowing what to tell the kids? Did they make these stories up just to have something to answer them with, right? These questions. So the boggart served a similar purpose. In Northern English folklore, it was a troublesome household spirit, sometimes mischievous, sometimes malicious, never predictable. Stories claimed it could hide inside homes, move objects, make strange noises, or torment families. So I guess this one torments like families, not just the kids. Whether anyone truly believed those stories depend largely upon the century in which they were in which they lived, right? Which they were created, and how long they lasted. Is it still something that's going on? Do we still tell our children these things, or have we moved on to something else? They gave shape to uncertainty. Meanwhile, Scotland. So we talked about that a little bit, and the word bogle, right? So the Scots have the bogle, which is often invisible, sometimes appearing only briefly. So it doesn't always stick around for long. Bogles represented unexplained dangers lurking beyond similar places. They haunted lonely roads, abandoned ruins, dark woods, places children had no business wandering alone. They weren't simply ghost stories. They were behavioral lessons disguised as folklore. Stay close to home, listen to your parents, avoid dangerous places, don't wander into forests after sunset, because if you did, something might already be waiting. And this is where I've said multiple times that, yes, this is true. There may be things out there, but there are things that are much more terrifying than something that doesn't exist, right? Because some demon is not what's in the woods. Bears are in the woods. depending on where you are, there are a multitude of dangerous animals in the woods. There, there are holes kids can fall into that are covered up. These are the realities of what these children should be afraid of, not something that's going to swoop down from the night sky and take them away on a fucking scary ride to hell. Like, it's just not what's happening. But anyways, on with the fucking story. So, while Europe develops its own collection of frightening spirits, other civilizations obviously were creating remarkable similar figures completely independently. That may be the most fascinating part of why the boogeyman's I can't even talk. The most fascinating part of the boogeyman's history is that there are so many different variations. It's hard to even know all of the variations because there are so many unique variations. And honestly, I really would like to hear more about other people's experiences with whatever form of boogeyman their parents used, or if you have older children, or if you do have children at all, like what did you use some type of fear mongering, because that's what it is, with an imagination or imaginative creature. So it wasn't merely one culture exporting one monster. Human beings across continents, separated by languages, religion, and geography, just kept inventing identical warnings, different names, different faces, same purpose. This does tell us something. It was something that every culture, almost every parent on earth probably has used some type of this, right? Even if it comes to, like, you're not gonna get, like, Krampus was like for the bad kids and they got taken away and Santa brings toys or whatever, I don't know. Anyways, maybe the boogeyman wasn't created because monsters exist. Maybe because childhood itself is universal. Every generation must teach children about danger. So before we had stickers, warning labels, right? Street lights, before emergency services were out there, fear was often the first teacher, right? So we get that. So we can instill some fear. Can you guys give me just a minute? I'll be right back. Sorry about that. My cat was getting on my nerves and it was really distracting. So my bad. I'm back. So let's get back to where I was. So parents everywhere have probably used some kind of fear-based being, punishment, something like that, attached to some variant of the boogeyman. So let's take a look. Let me see where we are. See where I am in my sources. Just a second. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So I think we are almost at the point where the question really comes in: is this for the kids or is this for the parents? Right? We've seen different continents, different languages, different religions, different centuries. Yet nearly every culture independently created a supernatural figure who watches children, judges behavior, and punishes disobedience. We can ask, do these cultures borrow from one another? We see that some of them intermingle with one another. Trade routes spread stories, right? Empires carried the folklore, immigration blended traditions, but many of these legends developed independently, perhaps because the underlying problem, raising children safely, is universal. So we're going to take a look at why parents invent monsters. Modern parenting books encourage conversation, positive reinforcement, emotional intelligence, whatever that means, age-appropriate explanations, all worthwhile ideas. But for most of human history, parents didn't have those luxuries. Again, how do you explain to a child something that has occurred when you yourself don't even know what has happened? And how do you look at that child and say, I don't know? At an age where I don't know is not going to maybe register, I don't know. So, you got to set the stage for yourself. Imagine living 800 years ago, no electricity, no police, no ambulances, dense forests surrounding your village, predators roaming nearby, open wells, fast-moving rivers, disease, bandits, a child wandering away after sunset that might never return. Again, explain that to a 5-year-old, right? I personally think that, again, it may have been used at some point for the parents' own comfort, because the parents didn't actually have an explanation to give. I think, we'll leave it at that. I think that I understand that, like, I think that I can't speak for 800 years ago, right? But there's nothing that we can do about the way that children invoked fear in their children, or the way that parents invoked fear in their children for the sake of whatever that they considered good behavior that wasn't, behavior that wasn't disobedient, to keep them safe, because children sometimes know what's best for them. Depending on the age, they really don't know. So, like, I understand that, but I don't think that so long as language has existed, that somebody hasn't been able to, maybe intelligence is a block, because if you don't know how to relate to your child, to help your child understand and be patient enough to help them understand what I don't know means. Like, sometimes things happen and we might never know what happened, and it might take a long time to know what happened. I think that there are probably a multitude of ways to say what I just said, to help a child understand that at any level. So I think that, rather than using imaginary beings that don't exist, that your child is eventually going to learn that these things don't exist. And I think that plays into being dishonest, even though most of us learn as parents that our parents probably did it and for our best interest, right? But still, like, have real life conversations with your kids about why they should be safe. And it's a pain in the ass to have to do your dishes every day, but it's just something that most of us learn how to do when we want to be civilized human beings. So if you want to cry about it, that's fine, but grab a tissue and do the dishes. Where are crybabies at? So, I guess fear is easier, right? Those conversations can be hard. So just the boogeyman will get you if you don't is easier, right? So yeah, there's that. So let's get to the psychology of fear, right? So children aren't born afraid of closets or beds or hallways. So what makes these places frightening? Why do they become frightening to a child? Part of the answer lies in how the developing brain processes uncertainty. Young children possess vivid imaginations. I think I've said that a lot during this. They also have limited life experience. Again, I also said that. When they encounter incomplete information, their minds naturally fill in the missing pieces. A pile of clothes becomes a person. You have to understand, children's minds run away with it. They run away from them. And sometimes it runs away so much that they can't grab it and bring it back. A tree branching on the window becomes the boogeyman that you have described as scratching the window to let them know that they're just waiting right out there, waiting for the moment to attack when they're doing something they're not supposed to do. This is just not, it's unnecessary. In my most unhumble opinion, this is quite the unnecessary tactic. If you're not willing to be patient and tolerant with your child and have an actual conversation with them, you probably shouldn't have kids. Okay, that was judgmenty. That was judgy. I'm sorry. Maybe. Anyways. So, these are the things that many parents, and I probably used it at one point too, and I just didn't have a better answer, right? Maybe I wasn't patient enough at that time, and maybe wasn't tolerant enough at that time. But I think that if we teach young people as they become parents that it is best to be honest with your kids instead of creating some imaginary creature that's never going to show up, I think would be a lot better going forward. Once a child understands that you lie, regardless of the context of why you did it, you have revealed that you are going to, that they cannot always believe what you say is going to happen. So just one more way to get your children to learn how to trust you, underlying lesson thrown in there. Don't use imaginary shit to get them to behave, have conversations with them, obviously at their developmental their developmental age level. That's what I meant to say, age and level. Okay, anyways, so let's take a look at darkness. Darkness simply hides information and uncertainty. So the kids got this imagination going in. Every time they go to bed, it's dark. Now you got to put a nightlight. You got to put a nightlight in their room because of something that you made them afraid of. Come on. All right. So darkness, it's an uncertainty. It's fertile ground for the imagination. I've said this multiple times. Adults experience something similar, walking alone through an unfamiliar parking garage. You hear maybe a leaf that blows across the ground behind you, and it sounds like somebody's walking behind you. Do you turn and look to see what's behind you, or do you just start walking faster to wherever you're going, right? That stuff is still there inside the minds of adults. So, most of us have felt the sudden urge of adrenaline. The difference is adults usually identify the source and children often cannot. Maybe a draft came through a vent or something in the bedroom and made something move. You never know. A hair that mom left behind when she tucked them in just tickled the arm of a child, and now they think something in the night in the dark is touching them. Like, this is what we're doing. So the mind of a child supplies a source. And it's the boogeyman that we make them afraid of that becomes the source for them. So never needs a face, right? We said that. It has never needed a face. You just use whatever the child is most afraid of and you go from there, or you borrow from some other origin and you create a new one, right? The new ones are being Slender Man came from the 2000s. So let's take a look, because we do have sources here. Sources to look at. We've got sources. Oh, I have to bring the sources back to you because you're just looking at me. I'll fix that for you. There we go. Let's do a chat check. So this is from the American Psychological Association. So let's take a look at the chat real quick before we move forward. Oh, you knew it was my cat? Yeah, dude, she's annoying. Annoying right now. Yeah, I'm a cat lady. Oh, I'm sorry that you miss your cat in a few days. All right, so Panchuchin says it's for both. We can't judge it from modern day. If a child got a scratch and it got infected, it was the end back then. Yeah, like I get it. I'm not trying to judge them, but like today, we don't need to do this anymore. There are so many ways to communicate and teach your children about the actual dangers out there, instead of making things up that are just never going to manifest as you have described them, right? We be civilized here. That's right. Hi, Caleb. What's up? Welcome in. Demented parents who iterate and exploit young minds. They are sorry humans. I mean, I think at this point, we just don't need it. It's so unnecessary. There are so many more things that are real that we should be warning our children about it than some imaginary thing that's hiding in the corner. So yeah, we believe it as kids and we see it as a joke when we get young, but I think that sometimes, I guess going either way, whether you tell them the truth or you tell them some folklorish type of boogeyman story, I guess depending on the child, one could take either one to the extreme, but I think it's just always better to be honest with your children. I feel like I lied to my kids by telling them Santa Claus was real, okay? I think that we need to, this is just, a little bit of my unhumble opinion, but I think that we need to remember that when we have children, we're not raising children, we're raising adults. We're teaching children how to be adults in the future. So we're not teaching them how to remain children. We're teaching them how to be adults when they get to that point. So there's that. Oh, hold on a minute. Yes, I love horror as well. I love it. Yes, Slender Man came around in the early 2000s. So yes, within the last 30 years, at least one new variant of the boogeyman has been created. Yeah. Yep. What is going on? How long, Nate? Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. Yeah, let me do a thing real quick before we get on to the psychological thing. Oh my goodness, I got a freaking dono. Stop. Who'd this come from? Oh, how long, Nate? Thank you so much, sir. Can we get W's in the chat for how long, Nate, please? And thank yous. Let me go ahead and fix this ticker. Add 25 to this bad boy. Get that bad boy up to 85. Hell yeah. Thank you, sir, so much. Hope your travels are safe. All right, we'll go ahead and put it back up there. Thank you so much, sir. Your donos are always, always, always appreciated, and so is everyone else's. All right, that's the first dono of the day. Let's go. I know. We got to get that 500 subs. Can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. So where was I? Oh, yeah, the APA thing. But I think also I might have missed something, or I might not be there yet. Because there was a link that I actually had to fix. But it might be, oh, it's like here, down in one of here. Okay, so this is the APA. Why did I pull this up? Hold on. Oh, these are, yeah, okay. So, all right, so this is where, okay, so here we go. Perception and attention. So perception and attention refer to interconnected cognitive processes through which we become aware of and respond to our environment. Perception involves recognizing, interpreting, and organizing sensory information to understand objects, events, and relationships. Attention is the mechanism that selectively focuses our cognitive resources on certain aspects of that sensory input, enabling us to process relevant information and more effectively while filtering out distractions. Together, they allow us to make sense of the world and prepare appropriate responses. So if we teach our children that something lurks in the corner, just waiting for them to fuck up, then like I said earlier, every dark corner becomes a place for whatever this child brings it to be, manifests it to be in their head. Okay, that is what is lurking inside every dark corner, in every dark corner that child encounters, because that's what you have taught them. Perception is everything. And if you teach your children correctly, they'll be able to perceive the things and respond to them correctly a lot better. Perceive things around them, right? So, you know, we've already talked about we left it behind. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'll be 100% transparent. Look at, okay? Sometimes I still wrap the blanket around my feet, okay? Because I don't need my bare feet being stuck out of the blankets for the devil to grab, okay? Talk about a boogeyman, all right? Any part of your body is hanging off the edge of the bed, the devil is going to get you. What? Where did I get that from? I don't even know where I got it from. Obviously, it was some kind of like Pentecostal Christian boogeyman. I don't know. All I know is that sometimes if I have my foot out from the comforter when I'm in bed, and like I realize that my foot is out from underneath the comforter, I will tuck it in. I'm not talking about just put my foot, like cover my foot. I mean like tuck it like the end of a burrito so that the devil doesn't get me. He already got me. What's he talking about? Me and him, we had meetings back in the day. Dark Side Deaconess is Dark Side Deaconess for a reason, but I'll still look. I'm scared for a reason. I met the man, okay? I don't want him to have any access to any part of my body anymore. Not even my. Stay away from my feet, Mr. Satan. I don't want to go back to hell with you, okay? Anyways, lady, let's move on. Yeah, can't have any part hanging out. Scare your children to stay in bed at night. The devil's gonna get you. Shit. Anyways, moving on. Okay, so we talked about that. Okay, so let's finish up. We are almost on the last segment, and it is 10 till midnight where I am. So Nate got the Grifty bag to 25. Can we get the Grifty bag to $50 if we want a panel afterwards. Since I know that we're going to get done before my heart out, which is 2 a.m. When I do late night streams, I have to do them in a way that I plan. So 2 a.m. is my heart out. But if we want a panel after this awesome content, I think it's been pretty cool. But hey, I'm completely biased. So if we do want to open panel after this content, let's do another 25. So another 25 open panel. Let's do a banner. Okay. There we go. So we need 25 to open the panel after this content. Foot fetish boogeyman is hilarious. Yeah, fuck you, Satan. That's a degenerate boogeyman if he's looking for feet. Okay. So we've looked at, I keep going back and forth with the whole issue. I'm going to close these actually as we go, make it easier for myself, also for my computer, because it's fucking loaded down now with tabs. Am I right? Namahaji. Okay, so we went through the perception and the attention thing. Let's see. Where'd it go? It doesn't matter. We talked about it. These are the sources, right? So we're going to take a look at fear. Fear is an emotion experience. What, can you guys see it? Can you guys see it, or can you just see me? Hold on. I probably have to bring it back to you. Oh, yes. I have to bring it back to you. My bad. Here, you can read along. I might have to do it differently. Oh, no, not like that. Jeez, oh, Pete's. That's a bad one. I don't like it. But the little thing is in the way. Oh, this works. Okay, 25 for that open panel. Let's go. Let me get back over to this content. All right, quick summary. Fear is an emotion experienced in the presence of threat or danger. It is a complex phenomenon studied across various scientific disciplines, including biology, psychology, and neuroscience. Emotions, including fear, are not merely amorphous feelings, but are structured by underlying neurology. We read a little bit about that earlier, about them being amorphous. Underlying neurology, judgments, behaviors, and social context. Remember, the social context is what where the perception comes from, right? So the neurobiology of emotion reveals that fear has neural pathways in the brain involving areas like the thalamus and the amygdala. These pathways can lead to rapid automatic responses or more cognitive evaluations of events. While some aspects of emotional reactions may be innate, they are also shaped by experience, right? So your perspective it means a lot. Shaped by experience, learning, and social influences. Fear can manifest as worry, anxiety, dread, or panic, and it is a fundamental aspect of the human emotional experience. So here also are the sources that Britannica used to put this together. So here, 1, 2, and 3. So using this source, you can source out. So you can take a look at this. Did I have it? No, here. We'll go here to the horror story, right? Because that's what we're kind of talking about. And even Donna brought up, like, she really likes horror movies. So it makes sense. You bring that along with you, but you start to realize, like, some of the things that we're afraid of, they like don't exist. Some of the things that we should be afraid of really exist. So that's right. Good night, Donna. Tuck your feet in. You are saying good night. Okay, wonderful. Yes, that's right. Totally tucked. All right, so let's go back to this. So we're going to go into hold on, let me get back to mine. We're going to get into the phenomenon of horror movies. But a horror story is a story in which the focus is on creating a feeling of fear. Such tales are of ancient origin and form a substantial part of the body of folk literature. They can feature supernatural elements such as ghosts, witches, or vampires, or they can address more realistic psychological fears. In Western literature, the literary cultivation of fear and curiosity for its own sake began to emerge in the 18th century, pre-Romantic era with the Gothic novel. The genre was a Walpole, Horace, horror, whose The Castle of Otranto from 1765 may be said to have founded the horror story as a legitimate literary form. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley introduced pseudoscience in the genre in her famous novel Frankenstein from 1818 about the creation of a monster that ultimately destroys its creator. I think most of us probably know of Frankenstein. This would be interesting to read, The Castle of Otranto. Has anybody read that, The Castle of Otranto? If so, you're here live, drop it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Let me know if you've ever read that. And is it an easy read? If not, let me know that also, to let me know that I'm going to require more attention, focus, energy to read it. I do have a hospital stay coming up in the middle of the month, which is why you'll see the Grifty bag at the ticker at the bottom is like almost twice what it usually is, because I am going to be actually in the hospital for 7 days. I don't know how capable of live streaming I'm going to be, but I'm going to try to vlog and drop videos for you guys. I will have access to Wi-Fi or whatnot, and I can take my laptop. So we'll see how good I can do. But again, those Grifty links are in the chat, and that amount is doubled because I will be gone off of live streaming for 3 to 7 days, pretty much against my will. So if you could help out, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, that's fine. I love that you're here listening as well. So a little bit more into like the horror. You have the source. It's there. You can look more into that, but we are actually going to jump over to some modern works, right? Stephen King, right? Stephen King, the king of horror. I personally think he's the king of horror when it comes to literary art, literature, writing, books, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite. I get it. Don't bring the man's like personal shit into like the conversation about me liking his books. I get it. There's stuff. There's stuff, right? People that write, yes, exactly. Crucible Crusader, great writer, not the greatest person. But I don't know why people would expect someone who writes in the detail that he does to be the greatest person, especially the genre in which he writes. But I will say that the book Insomnia by Stephen King is probably one of the greatest psychological horrors I've ever read. And when the movie Insomnia came out, I was really sad that it wasn't based on Stephen King's Insomnia. And I know a lot of other Stephen King fans were as well. So, the hell, Stephen King pissed me off so bad with the ending of The Stand. Yes, we love his books. Just not a great person. All right. But anyway, so you've got the Boogeyman, right? So you have books, radio, television, movies, and suddenly, the 20th century introduces the Boogeyman as not just something that's in your bedroom. Now he's on movie screens around the world. Something pretty interesting happened. Hollywood rarely portrayed the Boogeyman. Instead, it borrowed the idea, right? So it just put the different ideas all out there. You've got the movie Krampus. You've got the movie Lama Lorna. I forget what it's called. La Luna. I'm gonna look it up. I have to watch that movie. I need to put that on my list of movies to watch. On the Mexican like Boogie Woman, not Boogie Woman, but Boogie Woman. All right, so when you're taking these ideas from all over the world and you can put them on screens all over the world, you become an unstoppable force, and Hollywood did exactly that. They put a presence in the darkness that people hadn't heard of before and introduced new fears to people all over the world that they hadn't been introduced to. So, that brings it back to the uncertainty. Now with all of these other fears that are being introduced, these kids are learning that there are these other scary monsters out there as well, not just the ones that their parents have told them about, right? So we'll take a look at the movie Halloween with Michael Myers. Throughout the film, the characters repeatedly refer to him as the Boogeyman, not because he literally is a mythical creature, but because he embodies everything the legend represents. He appears without warning. He survives impossible injuries. He moves almost completely silent. He's completely silent when he moves most of the time. He becomes less of a man and more of an idea. And then, you're looking at Night Shift and the Boogeyman. Rather than relying on graphic violence, King focused on anticipation and what might be hiding behind the closet door, what happens when the lights go out, and the monster itself all becomes secondary. The fear itself becomes the story because it's all in here. All of these things that we're told are lurking in the closet and in the corners in the dark, they're not actually there, but up here they are. And remember, this can go in wild places with kids. It can go in wild places with adults too. But again, we've got to go with people who don't actually have any life experience, nothing to compare these things to that are running through their head. We're talking about children, not grown-ups. And then let's see, next source. We're going to go to the Babadook, right? The Babadook. In this movie, a single mother and her child fall into a deep well of paranoia when an eerie children's book titled Mr. Babadook manifests in their home. So I'm not going to play that too much because I don't want to get in trouble. But there's a little bit of that. So the Babadook, again, becomes up here. And for them, in this movie, it becomes a physical representation of grief, trauma, depression. And evolves from and into something different every time. It's not just something, again, like we said, it's under your bed. It's not just something that's in the closet, but it's something that hides inside of ourselves. And, maybe that's why the archetype refuses to disappear, because it is a figment of your imagination. It's not real. Every generation has reshaped it and might keep reshaping it. We don't know. Victorian children feared the closet. Modern audiences fear psychological monsters. Different appearance, same darkness. And then I will show you this a little bit. This is the Boogeyman, right? So I don't want to show a little bit too much of that because I don't want to get in trouble. But two sisters grieving the recent death of their mother without receiving much support from their father. A therapist who is dealing with his own grief must face a supernatural entity that feeds on the suffering of its victims. Right? So it comes out of their grief. This is... Which one? Okay, I might have to go over here real quick. Let's see. What do we have left? Oh, so I mean, like the answer, or not the answer, but the question, um, really was like, was there ever just one origin? Was it one origin? But as far as I think we've been able to see, is that there wasn't just one origin. The one that was traced the furthest back was the Bogle of Scotland. But not, but that's just like the historical evidence that we have, right? So I think that we could logically conclude that there were other things beyond documented and recorded historical evidence. I think that you can pretty much gather that this didn't just start when we became able to document these things. And, so I think that when Panchuchin said at the beginning of the stream, like, this is something that Europeans often experience, the disappearance of children for unknown reasons. A child dies right in front of another child. Like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that to a 4-year-old who watches another child like just die in front of them? How do you explain that to a child? How do you explain to a child that 7 children in a schoolhouse went missing and there's no trace of them? There's no trace of any evidence of any foul play or anything, or whatever terms they used back then, right? These are real concerns. So I think that it's safe to say that in some ways, because parents just didn't know how to say, I don't know, or how to explain, I don't know, for a variety of reasons, right? Whether they just weren't patient and tolerant enough, or whether they didn't know on an intellectual level how to help the child relate in a way they could use a realistic explanation instead of inserting some imaginative creature, right? So I don't think that I'm like, you medieval parents suck because you taught your kids that imaginary creatures were coming to get them. If I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, how do I explain to my 6-year-old child that 8 kids just went missing? I know I increased the number, but like, and I don't know, and neither does anybody else. How do you explain that? I don't think that we really can. So, without knowing the truth. And again, sometimes I don't know is not an accepted answer from your children. So not even now. So it didn't, children didn't possess the maturity to understand some of the things that were really going on. So we took a way out that worked at the moment, right? Stories emerged. The boogeyman became a symbol, a warning label attached to countless real threats. So when a parent says don't play in the streets, they're communicating danger. I mean, there's cars that go up and down the street. It's not a safe place to play, so don't do it. Not because the boogeyman's going to come and get you. But centuries ago, that same lesson may have sounded like the boogeyman waits where children wonder, right? Don't go in the street. Different language, say purpose, be careful. There are dangers out there that you need to be aware of. But tell them like today, you would say don't play in the street because a car will hit you. But you can't tell that to a 2-year-old. How do you communicate that to a 2-year-old? I don't know. It's all different. Now I think I'm just getting in the weeds. So, same purpose over time. The stories survived. The faces changed. The stories evolved. New ones were introduced. Even after a lot of the original dangers changed. The forest became neighborhood. The wolves disappeared. Panchuchin talked about the wolves. Street lights replaced darkness, and parents still found themselves saying, don't go outside alone. So the monster adapted. It knew how to avoid the street lights and move in through the dark. So no light ever shined on it and you could never see it. And, I think that as long as parents don't have answers, or again, don't have another way to teach their children caution in this way, they're going to have these things. They're going to fear monger a little bit, right? I'm not saying it's bad altogether. I just think that we shouldn't be dishonest with our children when we should be taking the time to be honest with them on a level that they can understand. So, most monsters eventually fade into history. The boogeyman, I don't know if it ever will. Few people genuinely fear dragons. Hardly anyone worries about a sea serpent. We've evolved right from those to other ones. I don't think anybody is worried about a troll, coming to get them. But if you give a scary concept a changing face, then the possibilities are endless in the area of fear mongering. I think we see that in areas outside of this concept, right? It's outside of the fear mongering children. If you give a concept a different, it's faceless. You can put whatever face on it that you want. It can become very scary. And, it's not one religion. It's not one culture. Because everyone faces uncertainty regardless of era or culture. Everyone. Every child wants to know what's in the darkness. There are things that are afraid to be of out there in the nighttime. Most of them are human beings and wild animals. So I think I had one more source that I wanted to take a look at. Hold on. Yes, this is interesting. I think this is no, I think that this is just in here. I put this source in here. Yep, this one was okay. So we are done with the sources. This is interesting to look into, to use. I think that we've covered a lot, just to be honest. It's been a lot. I've been talking for like 2 hours. That's hardcore. I hope you guys had a good time. I think these are interesting, and I think that one of the most interesting things about studying folklore is realizing that stories often reveal more about the people that are telling them. I think we've said that before as well. But it's more about the people telling them than the creatures within them. We've seen that the boogeyman has worn many faces in traditional folklore and probably wears countless faces in individual home lore, right? So we've seen horns, claws. Sometimes it's just a shadow lurking in the corner, but beneath every version lies the same human concern. And that's how do we protect the people that we love, mainly the most vulnerable, which happen to include children. And how do we protect them from the dangers that they aren't ready to understand? Some cultures answered with laws, others have traditions, and some answered with stories. So the boogeyman became one of humanity's oldest teachers, not because he was real, but because fear is real. And perhaps that's why the legend refuses to die, and every generation inherits new dangers. Every generation invents new monsters to explain them. So we have one monster to explain another. So questions, I'll check my grifty bag in a moment to see if anything's come through, to see if we're going to get that extended panel, or see if we're going to open the panel. And I say if the panel gets opened, we'll go till about 45 minutes. We'll go till 1 a.m. And the closer we get to 1 a.m., the more grifties that come in, the more likely you are to get me to my hard out at 2 a.m. So if we're going to do that, this is the question that I want to ask. If every culture independently created a boogeyman, what does that tell us? What does it tell you? What do you think? I know you've heard what I think. I've been talking for the last 2 hours. You know what I think about this topic. Do you think it reveals something different? Does it suggest that actual monsters like this exist or have existed and could still exist? You know, do you think that human beings everywhere instinctively use stories, or they make something up when they don't know how to explain it rationally or realistically or for real? They just don't know, and they make something up to cover that up. Do you think that that could be the case? Do you think it is to teach the truths that children aren't yet old enough to fully understand? And, you know, I think it's a little bit of all of that, but I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say. So if you do want that open panel, I would love another 25 doll hairs in my Grifty bag. So I'll check that just a minute. You know, I'll let that question linger there. I'll close. Yeah, I'll close and then we'll check the Grifty bag. So the boogeyman has never had one face. He's never belonged to one country, and he's never answered to one name. And perhaps that's exactly why he has survived for centuries. But unlike vampires or werewolves or witches, the boogeyman isn't just one creature. He is an idea. He's an uncertainty. And he is this given shape by imagination. And while most of us eventually stop checking beneath the bed, the older we become, we just talked about, me and Miss Donna tuck our feet in like burritos to keep the devil away. The older we become, the more we discover the life has plenty of dark corners, just not the ones we feared as children. And I think I touched on that as well. You know, I would like to thank everybody who has come in and gone out and come back. Or if you've been here the whole time, I do thank you for listening to my little rant on the boogeyman. Where the idea came from and where it has gone and possibly where it could go. So until next time, just keep asking questions, keep digging beneath the surface, because history is filled with stories that we've accepted without ever wondering where they came from. And sometimes the darkest origins aren't the monsters themselves, but the very human fears that created them. So I'll go ahead and get rid of these sources so that my StreamYard isn't working so hard. And, well, I mean, we're not going anywhere just yet, ma'am. Like and subscribe. Yes, if you're intrigued by the dark side. So let's see if we got another 25. But first, I need to close down these sources so my StreamYard's not working as hard. So give me just a second. All right, that's good. That's good. Oh, no, I still need that. I need this one. Oh, shit. World Radio, thank you. Big old 5. Ain't it nifty to be grifty, he says. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate the dono. Let's put that. So we got 5 more to go, or 20 more to go. I just lied to you. 20 more to go. If we want the panel, I'll give you guys like, I don't know. I'll give you like 10 minutes till the 30 on the clock, or 11 minutes. No. I saw that too. I haven't had any issues. I know some things are a little bit different, a tad different, but I haven't had any issues with it today. So, let me check this ticker, or let me change. I got to change the ticker, and I got to change the open panel amount. So, hide that real quick. Now we're down to 20. Down to 20, and I gotta add $5 to this one. So we're at 190. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, World Radio and Nate, for donating during this stream. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Common Circle said her dad told her chocolate milk came from brown cows. How now, brown cow? Brown chicken, brown cow. There, you got it. You got it. Brown chicken, brown cow. Listen, you guys, I've had enough caffeine to stay up for another hour and a half, okay? You have 10 minutes to get $20 into my grifty bag. His Stream Elements doesn't work? I'm confused. Like, he had issues with it? Or he's having issues with it? Not working? Oh, Stream Elements, not StreamYard. Stream Elements. I thought something was a little different over here. And I did get that email too. No, though, I don't think I've had any, because the only thing I really use it for is this, but I don't even use any of the chat bots because you can't use the Stream Element chat bot. No, I use the chat bots. What is it I don't work? Or I don't use the little thing that would go cha-ching, cha-ching. Yeah, the dono. Oh my God, I can't even think. Listen, I just blabbered on and on about the damn boogeyman for the last 2 hours. Can somebody come up here and talk to me so that I don't feel like a freaking schizoid? Can we just drop some $20 so we can open the panel so I can talk to somebody other than my camera? This feels schizo. Paranoia, okay? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying, like, I'm not, but it kind of feels that way. I feel like I'm talking into the void. I could use a little company. I got an hour and a half left of caffeine in my body. Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. A psychiatrist. Lawrence, what is up? He says, hail to Lady Darkside, Deaconess of the Crystal Princess. Woohoo! I'm moving to DC soon. Gonna build myself a crystal tycoon. It's my favorite. Put the link in chat. Hell, I'm not putting it in there until I get my doll hairs, okay? Give me the money. Give me 20 doll hairs. I got $20 if you want that panel link. We need to get that $20 in here. $20 doll hairs. That's what it's going to take. I drank the caffeine. Now you give me the money and we stay up and have a good time. I'm playing the baby song. I'm getting it loaded right now. That's what you get. I know a lot of people are going to resist the urge to grift because the song is banging. But at some point it gets annoying, okay? Boobies.
Reaching up and reaching out. We don't do this just for clout. Let's make this goal like they score in FIFA. We do this cause it's what we're all about. We've got goals, you pay tolls. YouTube trolls can go back to your holes. Better make the go bell ring, or how long Nate is gonna sing. Boobies, boobies. You can't see my boobies. Boobies, boobies. You can't see my boobies. You can't see my boobies.
3 people came in and left. That's funny. It went 10-7. Oh, one of them's back. You can't see my boobies. Boobies. Send me money, but you can't see my boobies.
We've got goals, you pay tolls, YouTube trolls can go back to your holes. Better make the goal bell.
Buddha, what's good?
Is gonna sing. Boobies. You can't see my boobies.
Boobies, we're working on it. Boobies. Buddha. Hold on, let me turn this shit down. I'll pause it. I'll let Buddha know what's going on. Buddha, we are $20 from an open panel after the Dark Origins stream. I have enough caffeine in me to keep going for another hour and a half. So if we want an hour and a half of fun pre-stream time, I need another $20. Back to the music. I know what you're saying. Drag strip. Very cool. Scripty links. Send in chat. Gonna play again. What'd I say? 2 more minutes. Oh. Okay. Buddha half wants an open panel because Buddha has just sent in half the amount left for the open panel, which is a big old 10. So W's in the chat for Buddha Customs. Thank you much, sir, for the big 10. He says, who's gonna match it? Who's gonna match that? Let's go ahead and lower that. First of all, let's increase the amount to 200 of the 1370. Hell yeah. Thank you so much to everybody again. Go ahead and put that back up there. And let's change that amount for the open panel to 10. We are down to 10. You have like 60 seconds or something of that nature. Yeah, 60 seconds for another 10 to come in. I'm waiting. Waiting. Was it entertaining, Buddha, or drag? Oh, okay, I'll go now. Dad jokes in the chat. Dad jokes in the chat. Are we not going to get a match? Are we going to let Darkside Deaconess stroll, peruse the YouTubes for the next hour and a half, causing a ruckus? I know where I could send you. I know what's probably still going. Is it still going on over there at Easy? Because if we don't get another $10 for an open panel, I'm scooting over there to watch that chaos. Okay, let's see. We didn't get another 10. We didn't get another 10. That's what we're doing. Yep, that's what we're doing. No open panel. No open panel tonight. But I appreciate each and every one of you that joined me here today for the Dark Origins or the Origin, however, on the Boogeyman, because it's a dark concept in and of itself. So tomorrow, look forward to Conspiracy Grove at 8 p.m. Hold on. Schedule's right here. I always forget. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States of America. That's where you can find me at Conspiracy Grove. Tomorrow, we're finally getting to the Yowie, since last weekend I had a mental crisis or a mental breakdown or a crisis. I'm still in crisis. I'm just better at handling it. Anyways, so let me go ahead and scoot over here. Can somebody please drop Speakeasy's link in the chat? Always causing a ruckus. Go ahead, Crucible Crusader, if you wouldn't mind, drop Speakeasy's YouTube channel link in the chat in case there's anybody here that doesn't have it or doesn't know it, so we can get everybody scooting over there. And I'm going to make a quick exit. I'm not going to say too much more. Let's see. Other than, well, I'll give you my little schedule, okay? Other than tomorrow, Conspiracy Grove, 7 p.m. Sunday, nothing, no stream on Sunday, unless I decide to do a Griff stream. Could be, it's possible. We'll see. Just look for it on my channel. Monday is Are You Freaking Kidding Me? We look at some of the weirdest crimes committed in the last week or so. Take a look at those, and then take a look at some weird happenings in the world, not necessarily crimes, but just things would be considered taboo here in the United States. Wednesday, we are off. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. That's our midday stream. So that starts at noon Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America. Wednesday, we're off, like I said. Thursday, we're going to go try to back to trivia as long as the platform is cooperating. This past Thursday, we ended up just having a little talk panel. Friday, we'll do another Dark Origins. And then Saturday is another Conspiracy Grove. So that's what we have going forward. Absolutely. No problem. Thank you guys all for coming in. Easy's link is right there. You guys can see yourselves out. Make sure you put Ghetto Raid from DSD in the chat. And we will say, let me find it. How's it always go? 5 from one weirdo to all the other weirdos. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck off.
Whoa! Beware!